Welcome to the Illumineer's Cafe, where we sit down with our favorite beverage and snack and talk about Disney Lorcana and other trading card games. Well, hello, and thank you for tuning in to the first episode of the Illumineer's Cafe. My name is MaugzSR, as I probably said in the intro. I'm excited to start my first podcast. And I do have a list of things right in my face of what I want to talk about. I know with a lot of podcasts, people just randomly talk and splurt and just go off random topics and whatnot. But I want to try to be as organized as I can for the first episode. And then probably like with the second episode, if I ever bring on like a guest or whatever, we're probably gonna it would just go off the wire. But anyway, for those who don't know who I am, who do not watch me on Twitch, which by the way, shameless plug. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I know I'm saying this early, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also be sure to follow me on twitch.tv/MaugzSR, where I speedrun video games like Kingdom Hearts and Kirby games. And I'm also doing casual playthroughs of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm also gotta get back into Final Fantasy XIV. I've been logging on here and there because I'm still on the trial version of 14. I haven't bought the full package yet. And, I still gotta edit videos for all of that stuff, and it's gonna be a doozy on top of editing the podcast and whatnot. But yeah, it's a fun time. It's really a fun time. You can also follow me on TikTok, where I do some cosplay stuff and whatnot. But anyway, so I am a speedrunner primarily, but also I work at a grocery store, and generally for this year, for my goals is to get into something that, would be more into, what I want to do, whether it's HVAC or web development, which would be pretty dope. Excuse me. But yeah, that's pretty much who I am. Essentially, I'm a self-taught web developer. No job yet. But if I get a job, I get a job. But yeah. The card games that I do play are, I was going to get back into the Pokemon trading card game, but, things happened, and it's kind of like a sporadic kind of deal. I am a sporadic person, and I do things out of the blue. But, I wanted to play Pokemon for a while, but I kept working past 6:30 at my job, so it's like, what, screw it. I collect the cards here and there nowadays, but that's all pretty much I've been doing. I also play the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. I currently, at this time of the recording of the first episode of the Illumineer's Cafe, I play Fire Kings. I'm working on actually Tri-Brigade Fire Kings. I just really had to think about what the other archetype I was mixing Fire Kings with. I want to play Red Dragon Archfiend. I have an RDA deck ready straight out of the box, but also I want to upgrade that, but man, card games cost so much money. As I've experienced myself, especially when I played the Digimon trading card game from September or October of 2021 to about last year in August. I got really burnt out on Digimon, because I also used to work 2 jobs, and the other job, I mentally, I couldn't handle it anymore. I left. But it is what it is. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. But I did play a variety of decks with Digimon, Gallantmon, Wargreymon. I played a little bit of purple decks, but I was terrible with purple. I played Bloomlord for a good long while too during the 2023 season, and that was a fun deck. It's a thing still, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked at the Digimon scene recently. I think that the Nationals are going for a Digimon right now in Los Angeles County, which, shout outs to Team Rose, shout outs to the boys, you know who y'all is. Yeah, I miss hanging out with you guys. But, yeah. Um, but yeah, that's other than that. I burned out. I burned out quite a bit. I got burnt out on Digimon, and then that's when in September of 2023 is when I got into Disney Lorcana, and let me tell you, well, I'm pretty sure all of you know it was hard to get booster packs. It was hard to get starter decks and whatnot have you. So what I did was I started with a $30 budget deck that I found online on YouTube, which was Sapphire Steel. I kept winning one game a week, and I was like, you know what, let's take a different direction and whatnot. And I built another budget deck, which I am primarily when I play Lorcana. I haven't played in a long while. I'll explain about that in a little bit. I played Emerald Amethyst Evasive, which I find like a fun deck to play, but again with like all that meta stuff going on, and still it's kind of hard for me to get some wins and whatnot. So I got burnt out on playing Lorcana competitively, so I'm just like, I need a break. And then that's when also I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh again. So, but again, well, I'm taking a break from Yu-Gi-Oh right now because I'm rebuilding my decks and whatnot for Yu-Gi-Oh and whatnot have you. I'm also saving up some money to buy some product for Into the Inklands. But yeah, I'm going off topic here. I apologize about that. So let's see. That's a list of the card games that I played. And then when did I start playing trading card games competitively? I actually started playing competitive card games back in 2007, 2008, starting with the Pokemon trading card game. Ironically, when Diamond and Pearl was a thing, I ran a firefighting beatdown deck that centered around both Lucario and Infernape. And let me tell you, on my birthday, oh my god, on my 18th birthday, I got first place. I was happy, and then the next thing that happened that I know I should have paid attention was that my deck was stolen, and the rest of my day was just fucking shit, man. I apologize, part of my language, but looking back on it, like, I kind of want to cry about it too, because, like, come on, it was birthday luck, and I got first place. So it really is a drag when somebody's deck gets stolen, and, whether you're, like, the most careful person or not. It sucks when that happens. And so I stopped playing Pokemon for a month because I still couldn't stop, like, crying about it, because come on, it was my first place when with that deck and whatnot. It took both my parents, both my mom and dad, rest in peace, Mom, by the way, to get me back into playing. It also took my brother, who actually got me into Magic back when I was a kid. But, yeah, I I decided to buy another starter deck or whatever. I started playing again. And then I took a little bit of a break because I was focusing on graduating high school and whatnot have you. And, excuse me, just drinking water, one of my favorite drinks in the world. By the way, for those who are listening to this podcast, what is your favorite drink? What is your favorite beverage? I generally like drinking water quite a lot. Also, I don't drink coffee because I think coffee is still gross. And look at me, I'm close to my mid 30s. I'm drinking soda of all things. I don't even drink energy drinks either because that stuff is so bad for you. It's not even funny. Especially like if you drink like if you pound down like 3 MaugzSRs and a coffee and a soda, your heart can literally explode because your heart rate would be going up way above 150, 180, then it goes up, keeps going and going until your heart bursts. I'm sorry to scare y'all like that, but really take care of yourself on that. But no, that's why I primarily drink water. I also drink soda as my source of caffeine, which I should be cutting down to like once a week. Because yeah, the habits do get bad. But anyway, but after high school and whatnot, I actually stopped playing card games I stopped playing competitively for a couple years, and then I got back into Pokemon during the Black and White era, and that was when I was working 2 jobs. When I first started working 2 jobs, I worked at a movie theater and I also worked at an amusement park. And let me tell you, the amusement park was not fun at all. But, Black and White era was when I got back into it. My first Black and White booster pack, I remember pulling a full art Reshiram, and I'm like, okay, cool. I was reading what it does. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then I pulled another Reshiram. I'm like, oh, cool. This is an alt-art version of Reshiram. And I was still going the fire fighting route where I'm trying to remember what the deck focused on, like what fighting Pokemon the deck focused on. But I know it focused on Emboar and Reshiram primarily because your end goal with that deck was to have Emboar on your bench and have Reshiram ready with Emboar's ability to put as many like fire or fighting energy cards as you want on the Pokemon, and then you use Reshiram's second attack to blaze through your opponent's Pokemon and take the W. But yeah, that was for a while, and then other things happened, blah blah blah. And then I just was collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards, starting with like the Legendary Collection, Yugi's World, Legendary Collection, Joey's World, and all the cool stuff and whatnot. And then I stopped collecting cards for a good long time. I was more focused on like trying to survive and whatnot because I dropped out of college and whatnot have you. And then back in 2020 was when I was like, oh cool, Bandai Namco's making a Digimon card game and it looks fun, and it was hard to find product. It was probably either just as hard or it was maybe I would say finding Lorcana product was 10 times, probably 20 times harder to find Lorcana product than it was finding Digimon product if we compared it back in 2020, which is insane, or back in 2021 when it came out to the I think it came out into the US in 2021. I don't remember when the Digimon card game first came out into the United States because it started in Japan, and I know that we are, what, 1 to 3 sets behind Japan. I'm not 100% sure when it comes to Digimon card game anymore, because seldom do I ever look at the competitive scene of Digimon anymore. But I can tell you, it changed heavily, incredibly heavily, which is okay, Change for card games can be good or it can be bad. But yeah, it was one of those things for sure. So, um, but I still play TCGs competitively to this day. I really don't go to major events like at all though, because again, like if I made a higher source of income, then I'd be able to travel a little bit more and go to events like YCS Las Vegas, or go just go anywhere for competitive gaming. So because meeting people and talking to people, and then meeting you guys would probably be cool. Um, so that's on when I started playing TCGs competitively. I did rail off the subject. I apologize, but I started back in 2007, 2008. So that's that. Um, and then the only major event actually that I went to was way, way, way back in 2004 with, I think it was the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds tournament that took place at the Los Angeles Convention Center, which was pretty cool because I don't remember what the contest was. I would have to look it up, but I knew that I won that contest and I got an invitation to Worlds as a guest. It was a me and plus one kind of deal. And so when I learned that I won and I was going to get tickets, I called my dad. I asked him, hey, do you want to go to this cool event that Konami is hosting for Yu-Gi-Oh? It's in Los Angeles, and, it's myself and plus one. And he said yes. Those were one of the fondest memories that I've had with my father so far in my lifetime, which is something that I'll never truly forget for sure. We went to LA and we had a blast. He bought me the dual disc, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I don't have the dual disc anymore. I wish I still had it because I want to try out for the Dual Tainers Network and whatnot, do some dual taining on TikTok and whatnot, because that shit is fun. Like, I've seen some of the plays and whatnot. I've seen guys like Mikey and Yakuto Moto, duke it out while being entertaining all together, and it was pretty fun. I'm like, okay, this is something that might be right up my alley. But yeah, with the 2004 Worlds in LA, I met some people. Unfortunately, never kept in contact with them. Unfortunately, but it is what it is. All I know is that it was a hell of a lot of fun. A lot of these events can be fun and memorable. Definitely, I would recommend 10 out of 10 going and having a good time. And there's also a lot of vendors too. So I also remember like vendors' food, inside the convention center was stupid expensive. So we just wound up going to like a McDonald's or a Jack in the Box or whatever was closest after the event was over. And man, I was knocked out back on the way home. I was exhausted. So yeah. Holy crap, I think this podcast is going to be shorter than I thought. So, if you want longer podcasts, let me know and hit that thumbs up, guys. Let's go. I don't know. Let's go, gamers. So, I want to finally, at last, talk about my first thoughts on the Lorcana trading card game. At first, it was very difficult to get into. Okay, because, the problems that we have in this world today, like one of the major problems that we have in this world are scalpers and hoarders. Honestly, I'm going to say hoarders because also there are Disney adults who want to buy these products and never open them, hoard them into like a little collection, hoard them into, into a shrine or whatever they do, which honestly I have no problem with as long as it's in moderation and not to the point where it looks like a Hoarders episode, which is an extreme PTSD shit kind of deal, which honestly, just don't. Just don't turn into those people. I beg you guys not to turn into hardcore hoarders. It's a scary thing. Um, but anyway, well, because there's a lot of Disney adults who don't know how to play the card game, so they'll just keep it in a collection, never to be opened, or anything else like that. But there is a good chunk of Disney adults that actually buy the product and actually play the card game. I'm one of those people who will go out and buy product because I want to play the game. I want to keep the game healthy. I want to keep the game rolling for a long, long time because the game is a lot of fun to an extent. you know, I think it would be fun to play with family. Not in a competitive scene, but in a casual scene because the card game is 3 to 6 players, and if you have a family of 6 people at home or a family of 3 to 4, just as long as you don't bully one person during a family fun night, then everything should be okie dokie smoky. But getting the product was really hard to get at first, and the only way, because the way that I got into it, again, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I started off with buying $30 worth of Lorcana cards on TCG Player, and that's how I built my deck. Okay, and that's perfectly fine. And I was thinking, hey, if I get like top 3, I can get at least 1 or 2 booster packs, which was really me on a budget of like buying cards at $10 a week and saying, oh, I want this card that's like $40. I want this card that's $20. I would save up for a couple weeks. But the problem is with all card games, doesn't matter if it's Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Magic the Gathering, this game, Lorcana, meta changes every few months, so it's kind of hard to get the cards that you want at a reasonable time, especially when a new set first comes out. For example, Into the Inklands is coming out next month. I'm really excited for Into the Inklands, and I really want to, start saving up money to build a deck for Into the Inklands, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of the cards that I'm going to want for a deck, it's gonna be expensive, like really expensive. I went with the H.C. Bailey Whisper with very expensive. I don't know why. I think it kind of scares my wallet. But fortunately, I set myself with a budget to where I can pay for rent, I can pay for groceries and whatnot because I'm an adult. I need to pay for these bills and whatnot, and then like there are some people who just don't care and will pay for cards even with their rent money, which I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying not to sound judgmental, but your survival is more important than a card game. But I get like if you want to go out and meet people, which is okay, but you could also trade with other people, or if there's an expensive card that you pull that you don't care about, trade that card out to get new cards. But anyway, I I'm reeling off topic again. I am so sorry. I am so sorry because I'm giving my first thoughts on the card game. I'm thinking finances, I'm thinking budget, I'm thinking this, and that, and putting all of this stuff into consideration. But I really, so far, I really enjoyed the game. I give the game a 10 out of 10, even though, like, there's a lot of decks that are super meta, and there are times where you really can't play the game because, all these cards that, like, give your opponent the control of the board, it gets really stressful, really depressing fast, which is why, like, I needed a break from playing Lorcana because it was every matchup. I was playing against Amber Ruby or Amber Amethyst or Ruby Amethyst and all the other colors. I just really wanted to have a good time. And, it really dwindled on me. It really dwindled on my mental health. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is, it, like, really, I have thinking, this isn't fair. Like, ever since my first draft with Lorcana, okay, I hated it. I hated draft. I still hate draft. I'm never going to play draft again. I know it's a good way to get certain cards that you do not own yet, but my god, yeah, no, never again. I have PTSD from that stuff. But ever since, like, my first draft, I kept on a losing streak, and it's like, this ain't cool. I'm done. And that was back last month in December, and I haven't gone and playing ever since. So maybe at some point, I will come back, but I'm gonna be playing a different color alongside Emerald, I think. I'm thinking about playing Ruby Emerald on a budget. There's a deck that I was taking a look at, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. But I do have some of the expensive cards, that I was talking about, because I pulled them out of a booster pack. So I'm like, okay, I can probably get away with putting Be Prepared in this deck. I can probably get away with putting Scar, Vicious Cheater in this deck, because funny thing is, I like pre-releases more than I like draft. I'm going to be 110% honest with that. Because, you get some really good cards, and you get to keep those cards, whereas draft is like, you really got to carefully decide what card you want to take, right? Right. So, that's another reason why I don't like draft. That's why I like pre-releases 110 times better than draft, because, pre-draft, pre-release, before the game started, I pulled a Scarvicious Cheater. I was like, all right, that's pretty dope. I almost went with flawless victory. I went I went out with a bang. I got 2 wins and a loss, but I still got, like, I think 2 or 3 more booster packs. Out of the second booster pack, I got a Scarvicious Cheater. I got another one. And then, after that, I got a cold foil Cinderella. The 7 cost or whatever, the Bloodborne Cinderella. I'm like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing. I made out like a bandit. But yeah, but still, that's why I like pre-release better, because, you know, you get the cards. You're surprised to get cards that you want, at some point, and then you get, like, if you get, like, more wins during the pre-release tournaments, you get, more booster packs, which gives you more cards, which would also get you more of the cards that you probably want. So yeah, there's that. But again, my first thoughts on Lorcana, all overall, it is an absolute 10 out of 10 fun trading card game. And I remember it being a little bit less stressful than Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh! So, with that being said, I believe that's all I gotta say about, that's all, I think that's all I gotta talk about in this first episode of of the podcast of Illumineer's Cafe for, well, at least for now, because, I'm thinking about making more episodes and whatnot. So, again, thank you for sitting down with me and taking the time to listen to me ramble about one of my favorite trading card games and whatnot have you. And I will catch you guys in the next episode. Take care and have a wonderful day.